Wow, wow, wow. Incredible. Hello, Jeanette's family from all around the world. It's incredible to see all your smiling faces from the different countries all around the world that we are broadcasting live to. I was asked to come here to Orlando today to speak on how to pivot like a visionary. And I think that we all have the opportunity to pivot. And first, I want to just explain what pivot means. Pivot simply means to shift, move your focus in a different direction. When one direction isn't working, you have to learn how to pivot and shift your focus to the other. But some people are simply left behind because they've failed to pivot. Today, I want to talk to you about how I've been able to pivot and how my team has been able to pivot and how successful people today have been able to pivot over the last 6 months and how you can pivot in your business if you make that decision today. Because the reality is that we have two choices in life when change happens. We have two choices in life when crisis happens. When the world is at a standstill, we have two choices. You can either go through it or you can grow through it. Most people simply choose to sit in the dark. Most people simply choose to dig their head deep in the sand and wait until the coast is clear, until all things are perfect again, until life comes back to what they think is normal. But they don't understand there's a new normal. I, ladies and gentlemen, chose to grow through it. If you want change, you've got to change. You've got to figure out new ways to become more valuable than you ever were before. There's an open window when the world stands still, when crisis happens. Opportunity is calling. You have to become more valuable while others are decreasing and devaluing themselves. You have to simply choose to continue to grow. That, ladies and gentlemen, is called progress. How do you pivot during times of change? You've got to have vision. You've got to make a decision on why you started. You got to go back to that day that you started. You got to figure out what motivated you to get started in this business. You have to simply make a decision on who you want to become as a result of this opportunity. What do you want your life to look like? What do you want your family's life to look like? What do you want your kids' future to look like? Who do you want to be as a leader? What is your team going to look like? How do you want them to see you in the future? You have to decide that this business is for you and it's going to happen to you, because it will happen with you or without you. You have to make the decision. But it all starts with that decision. The day you decide on who you want to be because of it. And once you make that decision, you have to make a commitment. The commitment to do this thing, whether things get tough or not, whether crisis happens or not, whether changes happen or not, you're committed to doing this thing from the long run. And what happens when you make that commitment is it takes it from this moment and it carries it into the future, regardless of the circumstances around you, regardless of the world changing around you. Once you've made a decision and you've committed to your decision, then you have resolve. Resolve means it's done inside of me, and that means it's done outside of me. No matter what I go through, it's going to happen. I already see it. I've already caught the vision. I caught the vision. I decided, I committed. It's already happened. Now I need to take action. And massive action is the cure-all when you've decided and you've committed. Then you need to take inventory. This is the progress part. This is where growth happens. You need to identify what your strengths are. What are my strengths? What am I good at? What am I recognized for? What has brought me to this moment in my life right now? And then you have to take inventory of your weaknesses. Because when change happens, when crisis happens, when the world is standing still, it's your time to evolve. It's your time to change. It's your time to adapt. It's your time to learn something new, to grow your strengths. Look at the people around you that you want to be like. Find the people who you want to emulate their success. Look at the people you look up to in your business. Who are they? What are their strengths? What do they have that you don't have? And make a decision to go to work on those things, to become the person you decided to be. That's taking inventory. That's what you do during moments of change. That's what you do when the world is standing still. That's what you do during moments of crisis, because that's your open window to take advantage and grow your weaknesses into your strengths. Once you've identified those, you make an investment. Okay? You make an investment in yourself. And you decide to go to work on those things. Right? Google and YouTube are the question answering machines. That's where you go to when you want to learn something new. Don't ever let your weaknesses hold you back, especially during times of change, during times of crisis. Don't ever let your weaknesses be the reason why you never succeeded, why you never hit that rank, why you didn't do that volume, why you never grew that team, why you couldn't be the leader you wanted to be. Okay? Don't ever let the lack of your strength become your weakness. All you have to do is be committed to growing, be committed to progress. Go every morning. Over the last 6 months, my wife can tell you, my coffee was ready in the morning, and I spent 2 hours every morning learning new things, figuring out what my weaknesses were before and how I can improve them during this time. I spent hours every day learning how to grow my content on social media, grow volume, grow my value, build an audience that I can attract to want to know more about my business, know more about who I am. And I wanted to grow my brand, because in an ever-changing digital world, your brand is everything. I spent hours and hours and hours growing that weakness, and I've been evolving, and that's helped change my business. But I made an investment on working on my business rather than only working in my business. You see, working in your business is doing all those income-generating things. All those things that drive volume, that drive income, recruiting, following up, following through, sharing the plan, showing the products, selling the products, directing people to my website. That's working in my business. But working on your business is doing all the other things around generating income. It's building infrastructure. It's building your brand. It's growing your value. It's growing your content, so you can attract an audience that's going to develop that volume for you later in life when you're working in your business. What are the things that you can do to work on your business that are going to help you at the end of the day while you're working in your business? Make an investment in those things. There are many things that you've already identified that you wish you had in your business, that you wish you knew in your business, and you're holding yourself back instead of going online into that digital platform we call the internet and asking questions, learning from professionals, watching all the free educational videos that are on YouTube, the searches you can follow through on Google. It's all there. Make an investment. To be an exceptional leader, you've got to be able to recognize sometimes the old ways of doing business are not going to work in today's market. You have to be willing to evolve and adapt with the times. You have a high-touch business versus a high-tech business. I would tell you, 13 years ago when I started this business, everything was high-touch. There was no Zoom, there was no Skype, I had never had a Facebook account, there was no Instagram, there was no Twitter, there was none of that. Everything was high-touch. Everything was about me jumping in my vehicle and driving to the next city or driving to the next house to meet the new person I would share my business with. It was sharing my business with person to person, in person. It was high touch. But today in this ever-changing world, it's all about high tech. We have the tech boom. Technology companies are taking over and running the world. They're helping us run our lives. They're helping people create billion-dollar business infrastructures. When you could take control of this high-tech opportunity you have with Jeunesse, this high-tech opportunity you have with building a business from home, you'll understand how to use the mobile apps, J-Mobile. You'll understand how to send videos. You'll understand how to use the CRM lead system in the same app you have in your hand that you've never used. You'll spend time learning how to grow your business with those things. You'll spend time in your back office learning how to use the CRM. You'll spend time on You'll spend time learning how to share the marketing assets on sharejeunesse.com, one of the best tools we have in our business, where an entire marketing team is spending hours of every day creating marketing assets that we can use to build value online. But most people aren't. You could spend time learning how to use social media platforms to your advantage, not just to show, share, and celebrate all that is Jeunesse, but to show, share all that is you, all that is that what you're interested in, growing your value, putting content out there, talking about being a female entrepreneur in an ever-changing world, talking about building a home-based business, talking about the pitfalls of someone starting a business from the ground up, talking about the 5 common things you can do to build a huge business online. Like, what value-driven content are you using to share on your social media platforms? Those are things I knew nothing about, but I spent time learning from people who were growing businesses online over the last 6 months, and I listened to their videos. I watched them speak to me, and I took action. High tech, this is a high-tech world. I learned how to use Zoom in an even bigger way to broadcast this business on a global platform rather just on a local platform. I learned how to use Facebook Live more than ever to share my business trainings with the world, not just with individual teams, to attract an audience of people not only in our company, but from all companies who want to join our business. I used Instagram Live. I learned how to create sponsored ads to find people who are interested in learning how to build a business from home or learning how to start their own based business so I can coach them up and then one day introduce them to Jeunesse. Those are things that I learned because I chose to grow through it rather than go through it. The dream of a network marketer or home-based business would be exactly the situation we have right now. Well, everybody around the world are stuck in their homes, in front of their computers. Billions of people, I'm telling you, 4 times as many than normal. The dream of a network marketing would be people sitting in their homes in front of their computers watching the world go to work when they have no work to do. That's the dream of a network marketer. What are you doing to showcase your skill sets? What are you doing to showcase your value? What are you doing to showcase your business? Well, all of these people have their eyes on you right now. Exposure, exposure, exposure. You have to go virtual. This becomes your new normal. We are all living in the same city right now, no matter where we are at around the world. Population 7.6 billion. The city we live in, the World Wide Web. I'm standing right here in the middle of it with all of you around me, all around the world right now. We live in the same city. This becomes your new normal because you chose to pivot like a visionary. You're the mayor of the town. You are the visionary leader that people will now follow. Lead them to success. Let's grow. Now I want to end right now with a quote by a world changer. Steve Jobs, co-founder of Apple. One of the most innovative companies of our time. It's changing the world as we live in it, month by month by month. It's changed the face of our business. This little device called an iPhone, this little device called an iPad, this little device called a MacBook. It's changing our world and all of us understand it. He says, here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them, because they change things. They push the human race forward, and while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who you do. They're the ones who do. You're the ones that do. Let's grow, you guys. Be world changers and pivot like a visionary. Thank you.